my first YouTube, like and subscribe to my channel. It would actually mean the world to me, because then I might actually start doing more and more YouTube videos. You never know. But yeah, I hope you like this look. And so first I'm going to go in with the multi-active oil from Skin Institute. So I think I'm going to do a matte brown, smoked out, blown out kind of look. I think that would look really cool coming into the cooler month. So for foundation today, I'm going to mix these two, my holy grails. Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation in Cheesecake, which I think is a little bit light for me. Add in the Estee Lauder Double Wear in the colour Bronze, just to give it a little bit of tan colour back into it. I just like to mix this up on, sometimes I use my back of my hand, sometimes I use my palette, but I just find there's less mess if you use a palette. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a pigmentation thing happening here. It was caused by tanning injections, a damp beauty blender. You should see the things we do, baby. The reason why I use a brush and a beauty blender is I like to pop all my product on my face with my brush and then basically blend out the excess with my beauty blender. Just really helps the product to not absorb all into your beauty blender, which can be an issue because it'll just, you'll go through your product like crazy. Are you ready for it? 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 In the middle of the night. The rest of my body is pretty tan, so this should match pretty good. So next I'm going to go in with the good old trusty Tarte Shape Tape in Light Sand. It's just going to go underneath my eyes to really highlight the areas that I want to brighten up. Are you ready for it? And because I still like a little bit more coverage, but I also don't want to add any more light to it, I'm going to go in with my NARS in Custard and just kind of diffuse that. I don't really need to do too much contouring to my nose because I've already got a small nose, thankfully. So I'm going to go in with good old Laura Mercier translucent powder. It's amazing. So I just go in with a damp beauty blender, and then I like to dip it in and make sure it's completely smooth on my beauty blender, and then basically pat it in where I'd like to bake, which is generally under my eyes because it's going to help for when I do my eyeshadow. Next I'm going to go in quickly and just fill my brows in. This will give me the framing for my eyes, and also when I go to carve out my brows with my concealer, it's not going to fuck up the eyeshadow. So for my brows, I'm just using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in medium brown, because I like my brows quite defined. I think if I use a blonde, because I am blonde, it's too light for me, and it just looks like I just look really washed out. Pretty much once they're done, I'm gonna go in now with my all-time favorite P. Louise base. This is in Rumor number 2. So when I use my P. Louise base, I like going with 2 different ones. So I go in with this one here to carve out my brows, and then this one here to kind of pat it on, because this product works really well by not actually setting. So I'm just going to go in and carve out my brows with the base. So eyebrows are done. I like them quite defined. You don't always have to have them this defined, but that's just how I like my brows. I always like them looking really snatched. What I'm going to first do is go in with my transition colour. This is my favourite one. It's actually been really well used. But it's one by Illamasqua. It's called Vapor. I want it to be quite a full colour on my whole lid. I'm just going to go in with this Bentonite Brow Definer. It's actually an eye definer, but in the colour Espresso, which is basically just going to act as like a full, like almost like an eye base. So it's more of a gel consistency. I'm just going to go in with a flat brush like this and basically just get enough out, and I'll pop the rest on my hand. And this basically will just act as a base for my brown eyeshadow. It's just going to make it like a really full flat colour, which is what I'm wanting. So I'm just really rounding it off because I want to have that really round kind of blown out look. I'm going to repeat the same on the other eye. So pretty much that's how I want it to look. I'm going to go in now with the Huda Beauty Is It Dust Palette. Now mine's been like very well used. Being a working makeup artist, it's really hard to kind of keep things clean. I'm just going to go in with a fluffy brush and pick up this colour called Ode. And basically I'm just going to pat it on the eyelid. Alright, that's how it should be really looking at the moment. I'm just going to go in with a thinner, kind of more fluffy, tapered brush, like really quite thin at the top. I'm just going to go in with this colour called Amber, which is like an orangey, burnt orangey kind of colour. And we're just going to diffuse that top part. Don't be afraid to pick up more pigment as well, because it's going to just blend better and the colour is just going to get more and more intense. So what I'm going to do is go back in with Vapor. So I don't mind actually going like right up near my brow bone with this lighter colour, because it kind of just like blends it all in, makes it quite seamless. I'm just going to go back in with that coppery kind of orange colour again. This is what they call like the stages of like a sandwich. So back in with Amber, and we're just kind of getting those transition colours, the layers back into it. And then back in with Ode. So whatever goes up must come down. So you need to do the same exact steps on the bottom, and that way it's going to kind of tie in your whole look together and make it that little bit more smoky. So I'm just going to go in now with Ode shader brush, and I'm just going to basically right along the lash line. A little bit bigger tapered kind of brush, and go in with Amber just slightly underneath that. But I'm going to go in with a bit more of a fluffier brush because I want to really like diffuse that whole colour. I'm going to finish off my little highlight bit around my eyes. So I'm going to go in with my favourite, it's called Illamasqua OMG. But once you actually put it on the skin, it's like OMG. I spritz this with my Fix Plus. And this is great for eyebrow highlight. You'll see in a minute why. It's almost got that really like gold kind of fleck to it, which is what I love. And I also like it for the inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to go back in with my Studio Fix powder in C4. Costa Riche from MAC, my favourite. It's a really warm brown. So I'm just going to line my waterline. This will work really well if you warm them up on the back of your hand first, and they should just glide onto your waterline easy as. This one I actually got at a little, in like a little goodie bag. I think it was in my Mecca Maxima box. I'm gonna try the Hourglass Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. I don't really have that many lashes at the moment because my eyelash extensions are gone. So I'm just gonna quickly give it a little coat of mascara just to prep them for my false lashes. Okay, wow, they're actually not as short as I thought they were. Alrighty. So I'm using the Worldwide Lashes Midnight Collection in Catwoman. They're a really fluffy set. I'll bring them out so you can see them. They're quite cute. They're not too extreme because this look is quite bold. Tip, I like to go from the top downwards and pop it straight in the center part of the eye, and then that way you can kind of measure where you need to pull it and stick it down for the other sides. But these lashes are super easy to put on anyway. So shout out to Worldwide Lashes. Stop. Alrighty. My hair is so dirty, it just has to go up in a ponytail. Okay, huns. What's next? Contour. From Benefit. It's amazing. It's one of my favorites. And I actually quite like the little brush in here, so I'm just going to go in with that. Okay, to bronze up the face and just give it a bit of colour, I'm just going to use the Mineralized Skin Finish in Deepest Dark by MAC with a medium-sized fluffy brush. This is just going to give a little bit more like warmth to the skin. Just going to use a really quick, maybe like a mix between these two. Anyway, I'm gonna do my highlight next. This is my favorite part as well as lashes is highlight. I swear I just sharpened half that pencil away because it kept fucking breaking. But we're all good with half a pencil. I'm gonna go in now with MAC Strip Down. It's one of my favorite brownie nudes for a lip liner. It doesn't throw off too much brown, but it's not too pink as well for a nude. So I'm just gonna quickly line my lips. Go in with, I don't know what this one is. It's a MAC lip gloss, lip gloss. And that, everyone, is the finished look. I would like to know your comments below and your feedback, if you liked it or not, if you have any ideas or suggestions that you want me to film for next time, that would be amazing.